So, growing up, I mean, honestly, I've known nothing but baseball. My dad, he was a college and professional baseball player. He went and played independent league. So, you know, growing up, I've always been around it. He ended up opening his own hitting facility. So, I mean, ever since I was like 3 years old, I can remember picking up a baseball bat while being in that hitting facility with him and just asking, going back and forth to different trainer, just asking if they could throw me BP or set it up on the tee just so I could hit. Going into middle school, it was kind of just focused from baseball. I mean, we played travel ball. Growing up with Dante, we were always playing travel ball together. Long nights of travel baseball, the heated moments, the fun moments, all the moments, man. It was definitely something I could cherish forever. 8th grade year was the year I really remember. I mean, we ended up going to win our region, so every day I was always an adventure. We'd eat Chick-fil-A before the games, and I remember before the game before regional, I remember eating Chick-fil-A with Dante, and then me and him looking at each other and just wondering that we were like, what are we going to do after this? Like, what's the next step? So, going into freshman year of high school, this is where really baseball kind of took off for me. I remember halfway through freshman year, it was with Dante and them. We were playing at Dalton High School, and I remember my dad being there. I remember looking up at him, because at this time he was a head coach at Southeast, which head coach for baseball. So I looked up at him and I was like, you know what, I think I want to come to Southeast to play for you. So that's what I did. Going into Southeast, you know, I didn't have any friends. I didn't know anybody. It definitely was a new school. I was very nervous. It took me like a month before I even got to know a single person. I used to eat lunch in my dad's office every day. So it was definitely a struggle going in, but as soon as baseball season came around, that's when it clicked. I started meeting new guys. I started finding relationships with people I didn't know I had, and it was just, honestly, it was so fun. And my dad, you know, he was a great coach. He knew that we weren't the best, but one thing he did is he built characters out of everybody. That's something that everybody cherishes from him. Going into senior year, this was the year I kind of knew like I had to start my recruiting process. I had to start working a little bit harder, and you know, I never really knew much about the gym. That's when the baseball guy that I started to be began. Went on to hit 8 home runs, 3 home runs in one game, which was absolutely crazy. And the recruiting process was, I came here for a visit, and I went to Cleveland State for a visit. And I think like 2 weeks later, after going to that visit with Cleveland State, I was pretty dead set at going, because of course I knew the coach. I had a good relationship with him. And I remember committing to Cleveland, and then a week later, Dante commits to Bryan. I remember showing up first day of practice, and I remember doing the leg workout that absolutely murdered my legs. We went into practice for the first day, and my legs felt like jello. And I remember trying to make plays, and my legs feeling like jello. And I remember Coach B, he said, "Better get used to it, Lofton." He said, "Them legs gonna feel like jello from here on out." And I was like, oh gosh. So fall at Cleveland State was, you know, I enjoyed it. It was fun. Did pretty good. I hit pretty solid during the fall. I think I was like hitting 400 in the fall at Cleveland. We switched my swing, and nothing worked. It all fell apart. I started swinging and missing a ton, grounding out, striking out, popping up. It was not good. I remember going into Christmas break, desperate, me and my dad every day in the cage, trying to figure out what was going on, what we could do. And the only thing I could think of was going back to my old swing. Going into the spring, I struggled, didn't hit good at all. I didn't really play at all. First game I started, I went 0 for 3. I didn't start the next game, and then the next game comes on, didn't start. The next game didn't start, and I remember seeing the lineup and seeing that I wasn't starting again. So I was like, okay, this is rough. So I was sitting the bench, and finally I had a chance. It was a 9th inning pitch hit opportunity against a righty. He was topping like 94. I think we were down by 1 with a man on third and first, And I remember getting in the box, and I was like, oh gosh, well, I said, if I don't do something here, I probably won't play for a week and a half. I end up grounding out to the first baseman to end the game. And I remember beating myself up about it. I was like, man, this sucks. This really sucks. I had a chance, and I blew it. And I had all my teammates, of course. My teammates at the time were my saving. They saved me through a lot of things. And they came up to me and was like, you know, man, you can't really beat yourself up for that because you're freshly injured. You haven't played in 2 weeks. Or you haven't played in a week, and you haven't had AB, so they're like, you're good. Just keep your head up. 2 weeks go by, I still didn't play at all. Every day was a struggle. I was trying to work hard, but felt like there was no motivation to work hard at all. So I remember walking back to the car with my dad, and I remember looking over at him, kind of teared up in my eyes, and I was like, I don't think I want to do this anymore. And I remember looking at him, and he looked at me, and he was like, what? I was like, yeah, I don't think I want to play baseball anymore. I said, I think I want to hang it up. I was like, it's not fun anymore. I'm not having a great time anymore. And I remember him looking at me, which I am very thankful for this day, till this day, that he looked at me and he said, well, buddy, I'm not ever going to pressure you into doing something you don't want to do. And he was like, if you want to quit, I completely understand. He said, just finish this year. It's like, if you finish this year and you finish this year out at Cleveland State, he said, we can always transfer. He's like, you don't have to stay here. You have this year where you can stay again next year. He said, but you do not have to stay here. And that's when I kind of started talking to Dante. I mean, we played the video games every night together, so I was always on the phone always on the game with him. That would be really embarrassing if I give up a bomb. So I remember talking to him.
What was that gas?
We were playing, and he was like, man, I'm having a great time here.
He tanked. He just struck out.
I was like, it hurts me, but at the same time, I was like, man, I'm so happy for him. Like, I'm glad you're having a great time over there. And I remember watching some of his highlights. One of them being one of his home runs. I can't remember who he was playing, but he pimped the absolute crap out of it. It looks like it's a fun time over there. And I remember talking to my dad. I was like, where Dante's at? I was like, Brian. I was like, I wish I would have went back and committed to go there. But I was like, is there any way I could possibly go to Bryan next year? And that's when I started talking to Dante, and then Dante started talking to Coach Day. And then Coach Day, was very interested because he knew that I was a big lefty. After freshman year at Cleveland State, I remember going into summer, I was like, I have to have a chip on my shoulder. I talked to my dad every day. Like I said, I talked to my dad every day about baseball. So I was like, something has to change. I was in my dad's hitting facility at this time, and me and my dad, we hit for probably like 8 hours a day. It was a grind. We hit every day, and I remember working to get my swing back to what it was, the old swing. Me and Dante, we played in the Sandusky League, and we worked at the same park that we played in. So we had to go clean bathrooms, blow mayflies off the roads and the walkways. We'd always go back, relax for a little bit, take probably an hour nap, wake up, and go play baseball. First game that we had, I went up and I was like still working on my swing, so everything was still a little bit off. But first AB, I think I got a hit. I was like, okay, it's like it's coming back. I was like, I feel good now. And second AB, I ended up hitting a bomb, which at that time was something like it meant a lot to me. I was like, holy smokes, that felt good. I remember after that game, I called my dad, so excited. I was excited. I told him, I was like, Dad. He was like, what? And he was like, you'll never believe it. And he was like, what? And I was like, I hit a bomb. He was like, what? And I was like, yeah, I hit a bomb. But I was happy. I was excited. And I remember going in to sophomore year of being here at Bryan, fall. And I was nervous as I'll get out of. I was like, okay, this is a new place. I don't know anybody here. And first practice was the best practice I've ever had while playing college baseball. The coaches, man, they made me feel like I belonged here, which at that time I didn't know anything about because I'd never had a good experience with the coaches. So being with the coaches and making me feel like I belonged at a place, which was something that was crazy to think of at the time. We did a bunch of ground balls, and I remember Danny Marquez coming up to me. He's like, you know, man, he said, I see a lot of good baseball players, because I was over at third at the time. He was like, I've seen a lot of good baseball players. He was like, but you're smooth over there. And I was like, dang, that felt good. That felt really good. I was like, I really appreciate it. Kind of knowing Dante coming in, everybody took me under their wing. They were like, everybody was just great. They were all amazing teammates. I had a good fall, but I was like, season comes around, I was nervous. I was like, I'm scared that season's gonna come around and I'm gonna have a terrible year again. So towards the end of the fall, that's kind of when we started lifting heavy. That's when I got into it. That was the first time I've ever dedicated myself into the gym. That's when I started getting stronger. I started filling out a little bit more. So, and then I started hitting baseballs a lot further. First game, I remember it was at Freed Harmon. My dad was there, my mom, my grandmother, Pawpaw. Everybody was there. They were all excited. It was a new thing. It was a new start. It was a new year. And I remember striking out first AB, looking on a changeup, and I remember just my heart sank. I was like, oh my God, it's gonna be the same thing as last year. And I struck out, and I started walking back to the dugout, and I looked over at my dad, and he just gave me the biggest smile. I've never seen him smile this big. He just gave me this biggest smile. You know, I was nervous. I was hurt a little bit. I was like, dang. I was down. I was mad. And I remember looking at him and him smiling at me so big, and I just gave him the biggest smile back. And then he was like, he gave me kind of like a calm down kind of thing, and I was like, okay. And next AB, it was against the lefty, and I think it was 2-2, and he threw me a slider in, and that was when I turned on it for the first time ever.
See your ball.
Yes.
See your ball.
And I remember crossing third and looking at Coach Mack and him smiling. And I remember getting ready to touch home, and I looked at my dad, and he was up, excited, the most excited I've ever seen him. And I just knew at that moment, I was like, this is it. I was like, this is gonna be a good year. Touched home, I looked into the dugout. That's when I saw all of our teammates just hyping me up. You know, it was definitely one of those experiences. I was like, this is top 10, one of my favorite moments in my life. I was like, you know, having all these guys cheer for me and being happy for me, and being able to hit a home run for everybody, and it was just something I can't ever take back. I remember getting in that dugout and everybody hugging me and like dabbing me up and everything. It was definitely one of the coolest things I've ever done and I ever got to experience. And I remember getting done, and I go up to my dad, and I was like, I think he was like full of, like, I think he was teared up because he was so happy for me. And I think what makes it so amazing to me is to be able to see my dad happy. And I think what makes it amazing for him is to see me happy, being able to play the sport that I love, that I grew up and loved and played all my life. And seeing him, I mean, I just remember looking at him, and I was like, all that hard work paid off. I was like, it's paying off. So we go back, next game. I remember, I think I went 3 for 4 or something like that, double, triple, and I had a great start of the season. Went in for the rest of the season. I ended up hitting 20 home runs and finishing with like a 420-something batting average. It was crazy. And, you know, I didn't think anything of it at the time. I was like, man, I had a great year. I was like, it was the greatest year. I've never had so much fun playing baseball, being around all them guys. And I was like, dude, baseball was fun again, which that's something I could never imagine. Like, I couldn't imagine going anywhere else to play baseball. This place, it makes me feel like I'm somewhere I belong. I feel like this place is my home. Everybody here is family to me. Everybody here cares for me, and everybody here wants to see me succeed. So, you know, I love it here. I remember going to racetrack, and then that's when I got the message from Coach Mack, which he sent into the group chat, the baseball group chat, saying that I got second team All-American. And, you know, I saw that, and I was like, holy smokes. Like, I can't believe it. Like, it's crazy. And of course, Dante, you know, takes a video of me completely covered in grass head to toe and sends it to the baseball group chat. And he was like, so this is what he thinks about it, guys. And that literally the video was me going, oh, that's cool. It looked like I didn't have any emotion to me, but it was definitely one of the coolest things ever. I didn't think I could ever do something like that in my life. This year means a lot. We got a lot of seniors, a lot of guys that want to go to a World Series. So this year means a lot, and I know it also means a lot because I feel like I have to get first team All-American, but I know I don't have any pressure on myself. I need to go out there and just have fun, enjoy being with the seniors because, like I said, this is the last time I get to play with everybody, which that really sucks to think about because I have a relationship now with these guys that I never would have thought of a year ago today. This year means a lot to not only me, but to you, to Danny, to Dryden, to every senior that we have. Like, I know Danny wants to go to a World Series, so that's kind of what I want to do. I want to be able to make that happen. So I know I gotta focus, and I gotta compete and to give everybody that chance. This team is definitely special. I think we have so many guys that are great baseball players. We have arms now that we didn't have last year. We have a lot of guys that want to do something special this year, so I think that in itself is something special. We have a lot of guys with the chips on their shoulders that want to do something. Thoughts on tomorrow? I definitely want to win both of them tomorrow. You know, I want to be more in myself and not get out of myself. You know, I want to be able to take more pitches, see more pitches, and not swing pitches in the dirt and ball four, especially ball four. I did that about 7 times last weekend. But I just want to go out and have fun, really. I think that's the main thing. It's always exciting. Every time. Every weekend we're about to play, I get so excited. Especially today after today's practice, I was excited.
Oh, big fly to right field. Hit really high over the light post, and that ball is well gone. That was a middle skittle, and he just tasted the rainbow.
Happy birthday, Mom. I had to save the best for last. First thing I'm going to say is thank you so much for being the biggest supporter in my life. You're truly the best thing to ever happen to me. And to be able to call you Mom is a true blessing. I love you more than anything, you know. This past Friday, which was your birthday, one of your birthday wishes was to hit a home run, and you know, to be able to fulfill that by not only hitting 1 home run but 2 is truly amazing. Thank you so much for being the best mom in the world. I love you and happy birthday.
Boy, let's go! Let's go! Down 2!
Ha ha ha!